We'll begin seated on our mat, sitting tall but comfortably. So that could be cross-legged, could be with legs extended out, however it feels good. And find a place for your hands, your arms to rest, maybe down in your lap. And just checking in to see how you're feeling at this moment. Physically, mentally, maybe even emotionally. And how is that affecting your breath? Is the breath deep and relaxed? Is it shallow? Is it a bit shortened? Are your sinuses clear and open? Can you breathe in and out through just your nose? Maybe just one more full, very aware breath here. And let's bring the hands out alongside the hips. Flip the palms up towards the sky if that feels okay. Inhale, sweep, reach your hands up as high as they'll possibly go. Get as tall as you possibly can. And as you exhale, rotate the palms back towards the earth. Bring those back down. Let's do that just 2 more times. Just moving with your own breath. On the inhale, arms extend. As you exhale, arms get heavy, come back to the earth. One more flow. And then once those fingertips come back down, keep the left fingertips down to the mat. We'll inhale, sweep the right arm up, reach as high as you possibly can, and then start to tip towards the left. Side body stretch to that right side. Deep breaths there. Maybe get a little more length through that side. That right hip really pressing down and away as the right fingertips are reaching in the opposite direction. And then slowly straighten back up. Release those right fingertips down. Flip the left palm up. Inhale, extend it up. Get as tall as you can. And then start leaning towards the right side. Body stretch with that left side. Deep, expansive breaths there. Feeling yourself both connected to the earth and then yet reaching out into the air, the ether. Claiming a little more space from the seat. And then slowly release that back down. Release those fingertips back down to the mat. And then we're just going to go ahead and take a gentle spinal twist from here. So inhale again, long spine. Feel everything stacked straight above the vertebra below it. And then start twisting towards the right. And I want your twist to start at the navel. And then it's going to wind up into the ribs, into the chest, until eventually you have no choice but to kind of bring the right hand back behind you, maybe right behind that tailbone. Maybe take the left hand across the body, finding a place like it's kind of just dropping an anchor there to help hold the twist. Not to twist deeper, but just to hold where your torso brought you. Maybe bring your chin back towards that right shoulder. And those arms, again, legs anchoring you to the earth. Like a tree blowing in the wind, maybe almost as though it's twisting in one direction. And then let's inhale, unwind that spine, come back to neutral. Tall spine as you exhale now, twisting around towards the left. And until it feels like once the shoulders have moved, go ahead and bring the left arm down, maybe left fingertips behind the tailbone. Right arm can come across, anchoring you here. Maybe chin back towards that left shoulder. A few deep breaths here, even though it gets more challenging. Keep the breath deep. If it feels impossible, then unwind slightly. And then slowly unwind, come back to center. Take a deep breath to center, long spine. And then let's go ahead and transition up to tabletop to all fours. Once you come to tabletop, go ahead and take a few cat-cow flows. Inhales, let the belly dip down. Maybe lift the crown of your head towards the sky as you exhale. Dip the crown of your head, your tailbone towards the earth, rounding your spine. And we'll just flow a few times there. That should always feel good. So make any adjustments until it does. We can always switch to our stacked fists if the wrists are really feeling this today. We can always bring cushion underneath the knees. Maybe bring less movement into the pelvis, the low back, if we're nursing any low back tightness or injuries. Maybe one more flow there. And then let's turn that into our sunbirds or sun dogs. So we will inhale right foot up and back as we inhale, still bringing the arch into the back if that feels okay. And then as you exhale, pull that knee up towards your chin as you round the spine. And let's do that right side just a few times. So continuing with your own rhythm of breath. And if this feels like it's straining the body in any way, just continue with cat-cows. You don't have to add this extra abdominal work. Maybe one more flow. And then eventually we'll release the right knee underneath the right hip, and we'll just switch sides with the inhale. Press the left foot up and back behind you. Exhale, pull that knee in towards your chin as you round the back. And we'll continue to flow there a few times. Always knowing what's most important is, one, we're able to breathe deep. We're breathing throughout our practice and we're listening to our body. So if there's ever pain or discomfort, we are stopping or we are backing out. Modifying. Maybe one more flow. And then we'll release that left knee underneath the left hip. Go ahead and sink back to child's pose a moment. Let the hips come back to or towards the heels. Maybe arms stretch out long in front of you. Maybe we bring stacked fists under the forehead. Arms, however, feel best. Just a few deep, relaxed breaths here. And then let's inhale forward to modified plank. So shift those shoulders above the wrist, keeping knees to the mat. We'll go ahead and hug the elbows in as we lower all the way down to our abdomen. Once you come down, let your cheek come down to rest. Let your hands extend back alongside your hips. Pausing and resting there. So right away, if you come here and you're feeling your low back, it might be a better option just to hang out in child's pose, to press back up. Or maybe to just focus some deep breaths to that area. What's going on with your upper back? Are the shoulders hovering up from the mat? Are you able to relax, to soften the chest, the upper back? Let the fronts of the shoulders come a little closer, or maybe even into touching the mat. And then we'll see if locust feels like a good option. So we're going to flatten out the low back a little bit more. Tuck the tailbone under as you inhale. Extend up through your head. Start to lift your chest. Lift those shoulders away. Lift the arms, the legs, reaching back through your fingertips. So not only is everything lifting up towards the sky, but it's also squeezing towards the back of your mat. Shoulders squeezing back, fingertips squeezing back, toes, and maybe even bringing thumbs in a little closer. Bring your shoulder blades in a little closer. Still breathing deep here. Maybe one more deep breath in. Exhale, melt back down, let opposite cheek come down to rest to the mat. And feel yourself. Every exhale is offering an opportunity to just soften and let go a little bit more. Maybe one more breath here. And then let's see if Cobra feels like a good option. We'll tuck the hands down alongside the chest, fingertips maybe under the shoulders. Squeeze the elbows in. And starting just like Locust, we're going to flatten out the low back. Tuck that tailbone slightly, supporting the low back. Lower abdominals engaged. And then start to, again, inhale up the chest, shoulders, the head. And then this time, big toes stay down, pressing into the mat and into the inner big toes, touching each other. And then pushing, lifting up to those hands. At all times, keeping the lower body connected to the mat. So pelvis all the way down the fronts of the legs to those toes. Keep shoulders squeezing down towards the mat, away from those ears. Sometimes they want to creep up. Maybe just one more deep breath in. Exhale, roll that spine back down, extend those arms back out, whichever cheek, again, back down to the mat. And we'll pause and breathe here once again. We're taking that moment to engage the body and then to feel ourselves letting it go. We also have to learn how to relax our bodies, not just to engage them. Relax them in a constructive way where the blood flow is not restricted. It can really get to all those spaces. So deep breaths here. And then let's bring the hands back under the shoulders, but this time we're going to press up through that modified plank and eventually land back in that child's pose. Pausing to just rest and breathe here. And then we're going to see if our rabbit pose feels like a good option. So moving into this cautiously, if you have any disc issues, you may just want to hang out in child's pose. But what we're going to do is kind of come up to kneeling slightly, tuck the toes under so that we can reach back and grab the heels. So we're cupping the hands over the heels, and then we start to bring the forehead down to the mat and start to round the spine so much that maybe you could bring the crown of your head to the mat. And we're just kind of pushing hands and feet into each other, feeling that stretch as now we round the spine in the opposite direction. And then relax that, just release that back to child's pose. Arms again where they feel best. That might be just remaining back by the feet alongside them. Maybe it's extending back out. Maybe it's those stacked fists underneath the forehead. Pausing and breathing here. And then let's inhale, start to come up to a seat. Go ahead and drop the hips to the side. Bring your legs out in front. And then we're going to start with staff pose. So we're going to bring feet out in front of us, legs straight. Bring the inside of the feet into touch. Align those big toes. And then just sitting tall. So maybe bring fingertips alongside the hips, or if it's comfortable for you, you can bring palms pressing down alongside the hips. Sitting as tall as you possibly can. Flexing those feet, so pulling the feet back towards you, engaging through the legs. Just starting again to feel yourself engaging here. And then we will also find relaxation in a moment. Feel all of those muscles tense. Sometimes the muscles want to tense before they can let go. And then let's inhale, sweep, reach the arms as high towards the sky as we can possibly go. Reach those fingertips. And as you exhale, start folding over those legs. Now, this being our first forward fold, we didn't even do any standing forward folds. It may be resistant, and that's totally okay. What we're going to do is we're going to flow with the breath. So we're going to inhale, come back up. Maybe it's just part of the way up. Maybe it's all the way up for you today. As you exhale, folding back forward. So on the inhales, we're going to be aligning the spine, straightening the spine, even through the crown of the head. As you exhale, you can round the back, let your forehead come maybe a little closer to your legs if that's comfortable. And let's continue to flow there a few times. We want to give those legs a chance to kind of warm up, to become receptive to stretching and releasing tension. Same with the muscles of the back, although we've worked the back a bit more. Maybe one more flow. And then if you want to stay down in that forward fold, you can do that. You can either take hold of feet or ankles, engage, squeezing down slightly more, or let the back round, let your forehead hang towards your legs. Let gravity do the work. Just soften all of the weight of the torso. Gravity will gently bring it closer to your legs. And if none of that feels like a good option, just inhale, straighten back up early. Maybe just 2 more breaths here. And then with an inhale, we'll slowly roll ourselves back up to seated tall. And then let's just bend the left knee, slide that left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And again, we're going to inhale, extend up, reach up through fingertips, get tall. Exhale, fold over that leg. Now you have the option to do that flow once again to ease into the back of that leg a little further. Straightening on the inhales, rounding gently, coming down a little deeper on the exhales. Or to do that release to gravity, relax it all forward. Or to engage and come down a little deeper, maybe flexing the right foot. So find what option feels best with your body today. And then we'll breathe here for a few moments. On your next inhale, straighten it back up. This time we're going to rotate a little bit away from that right leg. So opening the torso slightly to the left. Flip the right palm up, maybe to the inside of the right leg or maybe on top of the right leg. We're going to inhale that left arm up and then exhale, start tipping it over towards the right. So just like we did it seated, but with the leg extended. Side body stretch there. A few deep breaths. Once again, we feel the hips are anchoring us. The legs are anchoring us to the earth. We're extending up and out from that spot. And then maybe creating a little more space, a little more room to breathe with that left side. Maybe those muscles all down through the left side haven't been stretched in this way in a while. As you inhale, we'll straighten it back up, turning back towards the legs. We'll switch those legs out. Left leg straightens, right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. Inhale, extend, reach up, get as tall as you possibly can, and then exhale. Start folding it forward. And again, take the option that feels best. If it's flowing in and out, relaxing or engaging. And we will be here for a few moments, a few breaths. So maybe it starts with the flow and then eventually settles. Deep breaths there. Remembering that if we're not able to breathe deep, we should modify or back out. Being curious to what you're finding here. If it's tightness in certain areas, whatever it may be. Maybe one more breath. And then inhale, straighten it up. Exhale, turn slightly away from that left leg towards the right. Flip that left palm again on top of the leg or the inside of the leg. Inhale, right arm up towards the sky and then maybe over towards that left side. Breathing into that right side of the body. Extending, at the same time grounding to the earth. The lower body is heavy. It's anchoring us down here. Maybe just one more full breath. Inhale to straighten it back up. Exhale to release that hand back down. We'll go ahead and turn back towards the front. And then we're just going to come into boat pose. So we're going to bend the knees, tuck hands to the backs of the thighs, and then coming back to that straight spine. It's tipping back now, but it's just as straight as it was when we were sitting in our staff pose. Keeping that straight, shoulders pressing down as though you're still bringing those fingertips or palms alongside the hips, even though they're extending forward behind the thighs. And then see if you can float the feet up, keeping knees bent. If you can keep that strong, straight spine, maybe the hands can come away, extend out alongside the knees. Maybe you can even straighten the legs, maybe, as long as you don't start disengaging the core and start rounding through the back. We want to keep chest lifted. Maybe just one more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, reverse, eventually bringing feet back to the mat. We're just going to move into our seated butterfly. We'll let soles of the feet turn into touch. Let knees open wide. And then you can either just sit tall in this butterfly, engaging the legs, see if you can squeeze the outer edges towards the mat, or you can also tip it forward if that feels good. Hinge forward from the hips, stretching a little deeper, maybe into those inner hips and thighs, maybe into the back. And just a few deep breaths there. And then on an inhale, we'll straighten it back up. And then we'll go ahead and bring those knees back in to touch. And then we're going to make our way down to our backs. So however you want to come down. Once you do make your way down, just go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Release any tension lingering across, especially the lower back. Maybe rock that side to side a bit. And then from here, we're going to move into bridge pose. We're going to bring palms down alongside the hips, pressing those into the mat. We'll go ahead and bring feet right behind the knees. As always, if we come into this and you're feeling discomfort in the knees, come down, maybe straighten and bend the knees a few times, readjust the feet. If you can't find where your knees feel good, you can just hang out as you are. Otherwise, we're going to press into those feet, start to lift the hips, the pelvis up towards the sky. Pausing and breathing here. If there is a lot of lift, maybe you bring the hands underneath the back, interlace the fingers, maybe even press palms into one another, and maybe even walk the shoulders in a little closer towards each other. Shoulder blades a little closer. Deep, deep breaths here. And seeing how this feels. So we have the option of either just staying here, or if you want to try shoulder stand. The key thing to shoulder stand is keep that gaze straight up towards the sky. We don't want to twist, turn any of the vertebrae, including in the neck, as we come into this. So if you end up watching the YouTube video, just pause and watch, or stop and watch it, and then come into your pose as you pause the video. So what we're going to do is bring palms to the back if that's comfortable. And then we're going to flip those knees up towards the ears. So alongside the ears. Breathing there. So we're curled in a little ball here. If that's already very intense, just you can roll right back out, or however you need to come back out of this. If that's feeling good, we're trying to bring those palms down, or down the back, but up higher into the back muscles. And then see if you can start to maybe lift the feet with bent knees. Maybe you can start to straighten those legs up towards the sky. Just a few breaths there. And then if your forward fold, your legs, your back were feeling tight, you would want to stay here. But if your legs were feeling flexible, see if you can start to lower your right toes above your head towards the mat with straight right leg. Maybe those toes can tap the mat. Lift that leg back up. See if you can lower the left toes towards the mat. Maybe they can tap the mat, keeping that left leg straight. So a big, intense stretch of the back of the leg. Inhale, bring that up. If those toes were able to touch and tap, see if both of them can come down at the same time into our plow pose. If toes can come down and tap, you can bring the arms outstretched like they were in our bridge and interlace those hands once again, pressing the outer edge, the tricep, and arms down into the mat to our full expression of our plow pose. Okay, we're going to come out of this. So if you are in plow, you can separate the hands, bring the palms back to the mat, and see if you can just kind of roll the spine back out. Otherwise, if you're up in shoulder stand, what we want to do is bring that support still into the back. See if we can flip the feet and come right back into our bridge. Might be easier said than done. And then once we're all in bridge, if you've been in bridge this whole time, maybe you've already come out, maybe we separate those hands back out. We're all going to slowly roll the spine all the way back down. Let's be very mindful of how the vertebrae are feeling. And then once you come down, hug those knees into the chest, rock that side to side a little bit. It is not uncommon for me to have a little bit of middle back spasms from this. Those muscles are they haven't been engaged in this way in a while. Deep, deep breaths into those muscles. Calming the body, letting the muscles know it's okay. And then we do need to take a counter stretch from here. So if you can take this whether you just took bridge or not, but if you took shoulder stand or if you took plow, I definitely want you to move into this counter pose. So we're going to bring palms still alongside the hips, and then we're going to rock the hips side to side, sliding those thumbs together underneath us. So now backs of hands are underneath the hips. We're moving into fish pose. We're going to extend the legs out long and then push into those palms, those forearms. Lift your torso up towards the sky. So you've created a huge arc, lifting everything up. And then if it feels good, now bending the spine in the opposite direction, much like how a cobra pose feels. We're going to tip back, but we're going to bring the crown of the head down to the mat. Not putting any pressure onto the crown of the head. It's just there to rest, support the neck there. All of the pressure is into those palms, those forearms. Squeeze the shoulders back. Maybe one more full breath. And then first thing, lift the head, let the torso lift straight and back up. And then lower the whole spine all the way back down to the mat. Once you come down, you can again hug those knees into the chest. Maybe rock that side to side a little bit. And then when you're ready, we'll come down to a brief supine butterfly pose. Knees come to bend, feet to the mat, open those knees out, and then just letting gravity do the work here a moment. Deep belly breaths, immediately letting your body know it's time to relax and let go. The arms, the shoulders become heavy, placed wherever they feel best. And then we'll move into relaxation next. So if you're ready, bring the knees back up. Maybe hug those one last time. And then releasing down for relaxation. If your back feels great, extend the legs all the way down to the corners of your mat. I relax my feet and ankles. My feet and ankles are completely relaxed. I relax my shins, calves, and knees. My shins, calves, and knees are completely relaxed. I relax my thighs and hamstrings. My thighs and hamstrings are completely relaxed. I relax my hips and pelvis. My hips and pelvis are completely relaxed. I relax my hands and wrists. My hands and wrists are completely relaxed. I relax my forearms, elbows, and upper arms. My forearms, elbows, and upper arms are completely relaxed. I relax my upper back, middle back, and lower back. My upper, middle, and lower back are completely relaxed. I relax through my abdomen and ribs. My abdomen and ribs are completely relaxed. I relax through my chest and shoulders. My chest and shoulders are completely relaxed. I relax my neck, face, and jaw. My neck, face, and jaw are completely relaxed. I allow my entire body to fully relax. My entire body is fully and completely relaxed. Slowly start to bring your awareness back in, starting with the sensation of your breath. So it travels in and releases back out. And then shift awareness to the center of your palms, noticing any sensations or vibrations happening there. And then bring in little subtle movements that maybe start with a wiggle or a stretch. And let those movements just gently grow outward. That may become a full body stretch. Or it may be that your back would love for you to hug your knees into your chest one more time. Take your time, no rush. But eventually when that feels complete, you can rock yourself over to your right side, pausing and resting there for a few moments, a few breaths. Take as long as you need on your side. Just eventually, when that feels complete, start to press yourself back up to whatever seated position feels most comfortable at this moment. Once you find that position, let your hands, your arms find a place to settle and rest. Checking in to see how you're feeling at this moment. And then we'll connect the palms at the center of the chest. Thank you so much for joining me. It is my honor to teach you. Namaste.